The men's ice hockey team played host to Clarkson this past weekend. We take you inside that matchup and breaking news that came out of it.
The women's ice hockey team traveled up north to face Clarkson and St. Lawrence. How do they do with the ECAC tournament just around the corner?
And as always, we bring you this week's top 5 plays. Don't go anywhere. Sports Paws starts right now. Hello and welcome into Sports Paws. My name is Drew Feinberg alongside my good friend Chris Stacey. Chris, how you doing tonight?
Any night the Sports Paws is on, it's a great night, Drew.
Indeed it is.
And it seems like as we get closer and closer, Drew, to playoff time, each game, men's or women's, hockey or basketball, each game keeps getting more and more important.
You're sure right, it definitely
Yes, it does. Now we are going to take a look that happened at the TD Bank Sports Center past Friday with the men's ice hockey team as they welcome Clarkson. Here we go, big ECAC game. As I said, we're going to start here in the second period. We're going to see right here, Clarkson's going to center this puck, and it is going to be a ripper get past Andrew Shortridge here. Clarkson's going to tie this game up 1-1. We're going to stay here in the second period. We're going to see a 5-minute major penalty on Clarkson, and you're going to see Quinnipiac can't do anything here. They get stuffed. And we're going to see Clarkson right back here. And they're going to get a pass. There's another slap shot right there. Shortridge, nothing he can do about it. Clarkson's going to go up 2-1. We're going to go straight to the third period. Clarkson on the attack again. We're going to see this shot get centered up, and it's going to go off the post, but wide open net there. Easy money for Clarkson right there. Going to go up 3-1. Quinnipiac coming right back. Big scramble in front of the net. This one's eventually going to find its way in right there. Clarkson still leads 3-2 here. And now we're going to see here, empty netter going in. Quinnipiac just sloppy with the puck here, and Clarkson's going to get it. That's going to prove to be the difference, that empty netter. Clarkson's going to win 4-2. And let's see head coach Rand Pecknold after the game in the press conference.
I thought we played 3 games. The first period was really good. I thought the second period was unacceptable, and I thought the third period was good from a compete level. You know, that second period, we had a lot of kids losing battles, losing races. A couple kids that were really soft, afraid to get hit, and you can't play that way at this level. So we will have to address that.
We now take a look at this week's updated ECAC standings. Union leads the pack with 27 points, followed by Harvard, Cornell, and St. Lawrence. Quinnipiac sits at the 5th position, followed by Clarkson, Yale, and Princeton. Dartmouth, Colgate, RPI, and Brown round out the bottom 4 of the ECAC.
With the USCHO.com poll came out today, and for the first time since October 2014, Quinnipiac is not in the top 20. After a loss to Clarkson, the Bobcats dropped out of the 19th spot. Also, the pairwise rankings came out today, and the men's ice hockey team was 22nd this week after dropping its only game of the weekend to Clarkson, like I said before. Now we are going to bring in men's ice hockey beat reporter Kyle Lavasser. Kyle, it's great to see that smile in the studio. Thanks for coming on to talk some hockey with us.
Hey, Chris, whenever I get to see you, I just can't help but smile, so thanks for having me.
Kyle. Now this team coming in was outside the top 4 in the ECAC coming into this weekend. A win against Clarkson would have helped their chances. What are your thoughts on this game against Clarkson?
Yeah, you know what, Chris? I kind of saw 3 different teams playing this game, one come out in each different period. And that's exactly what head coach Rand Pecknold said after the game in the press conference. One bad period coming in the second period ended up being the difference maker in this game. He called it unacceptable, and it wasn't the Quinnipiac team that we've grown accustomed to seeing over the past couple of years. They get a 5-minute major that you see in the highlight, and they can't capitalize on the power play. Chris, they only had 1 shot through that whole 5 minutes on the power play. And whenever you can't convert on a 5-minute major, that just sucks the energy out of a team. So I really didn't see them coming back the rest of the game. Yes, they did show a lot of great fight, especially towards the end of the third period. They almost came back, especially when they pulled the goalie. But it is pretty concerning now that it's their first time out of the top 20 in the last 2 to 3 years.
Kyle, you broke the news on Friday that junior forward Andrew Taverner is no longer part of this men's ice hockey team. How do you see this impacting the team going forward?
You know, Drew, Andrew Tavener might have not been a 20-goal scorer or one of the top scorers on the team, but what they're losing is a clutch, solid role player that has come through for Quinnipiac in the past. Tavener was a junior that played in 81 games for Quinnipiac, and we saw him at least show a little, a little spark a few times throughout his career. His freshman year, when Quinnipiac got kicked out of the national tournament by North Dakota, he was the only player that scored a goal for Quinnipiac. He also scored a goal in the Frozen Four of last year's Frozen Four against Boston College. He scored the game-winning goal in Game 3 against Cornell to send his team to Lake Placid. So yeah, there were a few times that he did come up clutch for Quinnipiac.
Kyle, 2 weekends left in the regular season for this Quinnipiac Bobcat team. What are their chances of getting a first-round bye in the ECAC tournament?
You know, Chris, they're really going to have to win out the rest of the way. They're currently 4 points behind both Cornell and St. Lawrence. And when you look at their next 2 weekends, they are on the road against a really, really good Union team. And then they also play RPI on the road. I think they're going to split that weekend, losing to Union, who they lost to at home earlier in the year. Union is 7th in the USCHO, and they beat Quinnipiac 5-2 in their last game. I think they beat Rensselaer, and then their last weekend, they face Yale and Brown at home. Both teams that they did beat, but it's really, I think, going to be a little too late as Cornell and St. Lawrence are going to have the tiebreakers over them because they have the edge in head-to-head games, and Cornell has the edge in the top 4 teams versus the top 4 teams in the ECAC, which is the next tiebreaker under wins. So it's really going to be tough for Quinnipiac to get that first round bye and eventually get the ECAC playoff championship.
Well, as always, Kyle, great insight. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Let's switch things over now to the women's ice hockey team. The Bobcats traveled about 6 hours this past weekend to play 2 games against ECAC's top 2 teams, Clarkson and St. Lawrence. Let's take a look at this first game this weekend against St. Lawrence. So the Quinnipiac ice hockey team traveled to Canton, New York to face St. Lawrence. In the first period, 2 minutes into the game, Dakota Gold is going to intercept this pass, and it's going to be a great save by Sydney Rossman to keep it at 0-0. Later in the first period, Hannah Miller is going to win this puck, skate, and go 5-hole on Sydney Rossman, making it 1-0 St. Lawrence. Now in the second period, TT Cianfrano is going to drive to the net. Her shot is going to be saved and eventually tipped in by captain Emma Woods, making this game 1-1. Now in the third period, the Bobcats are shorthanded. St. Lawrence misplays the puck at the blue line, which leads to this Kenzie Prater breakaway, and it's going to be saved by Grace Harrison, keeping this at 1-1. Now in overtime, in the final seconds, Kennedy Marchment is going to take a wide open shot, and it's going to be stuffed by goalkeeper Sydney Rossman, and that is the way this game is going to end at 1-1.
The women's team then traveled over to Clarkson the next day for another ECAC game. The Bobcats lost by a score of 1-0. The lone goal was scored by Clarkson's Jessica Gillum, and that game put the Bobcats at 11-6-3 in conference play. The Bobcats have 2 more regular season games left, both at home at the TD Bank Sports Center. The 2 games are against RPI and Union. These 2 games are going to prove to be very important going down the stretch as the ECAC tournament is right around the corner.
Now let's take a look at this week's women's USCHO.com poll. The Wisconsin Badgers are the clear number 1 team, getting all 15 first place votes. Coming in at number 2 is Minnesota Duluth, followed by Clarkson, Minnesota, and St. Lawrence to finish off the top 5. Polishing off the bottom 5 are Boston College at 6, followed by Cornell, Robert Morris, Princeton, and Quinnipiac is at number 10. Well, we are going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we take a look at the men's basketball team and how they fared in their 2 matchups between St. Peter's and Ryder. And the surging women's basketball team look to keep their great season going in this weekend's matchup between Marist and Siena. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Coming up on Bobcat Breakdown.
Coming up on Bobcat Breakdown.
Welcome into Studio 125.
So what? So what?
If you score 40 points in a basketball game, we all know you play Quinnipiac Intramurals. We all know you love to shoot the rock.
Well, if you think that's the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, what I'm about to say, I guess, is going to be pretty ridiculous in your book. But I'm going to say, yes, there is a controversy.
Line, getting ready to punch the ball as it lands right in front of another Monument player.
Coming up, coming up, coming up.
Coming up and hashtag that.
We are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Hello, Quinnipiac hockey fans, and welcome to the Neutral Zone.
Definitely St. Lawrence, and I think you're going to see the test coming up real soon.
They might be having a bit of an adjustment issue without that CBS line, but don't count them out.
At High Point Solutions Arena in Game 2 of Quinnipiac vs. Northeastern Series.
All this and more.
Coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us.
The men's basketball team traveled to New Jersey this past weekend to play St. Peter's and Ryder. Let's take a look at the Bobcats took on the Peacocks of St. Peter's, who have the MAC's best defense, only allowing 62.6 points per game. The Peacocks of St. Peter's took this one 76-45. Peter Kiss and Mikey Dixon were held to 9 and 6 points respectively. QU shot just 27% from the field, and St. Peter's shot 51.7% from the field, and we will now take a look at Shays Daniels after the game.
We didn't really compete on offense. We were a little sloppy. If we would mess up on the defensive end, we might try to compensate for it from offense tonight. That's not the team to do it against because they play between you and the basket. You know, they want to make you earn, your offensive trip. We got to tighten up on defense. Defense was key tonight because the ball didn't go in for us. And that hurt us. We were making sloppy plays on defense, not communicating. It didn't look like Quinnipiac basketball, and we can't do that moving forward.
And right after that, they have a game at Ryder. They had to travel down to Lawrenceville, New Jersey. Quinnipiac still looking to get a top 5 seed going into MAC playoff time. And here is the first half. We're going to see Jimmy Taylor here dribble down, miss the layup, but his teammates there to clean it up. Chase Daniels comes right back with the hook shot here, and then here you're just going to see a quick layup right here. That's an easy 2 points. But the story of this game was Ryder from 3, shooting 68%. They just couldn't, they were on fire. And you're going to see another alley-oop right there. That's momentum builder going into the second half here. And you're going to see Jimmy Taylor here again with the N1. He finished with 37 points. And you're going to see here Andrew Robinson coming off the bench, providing a spark for this Bobcat team. He's going to hit some big shots down the stretch here. You see another corner 3, 17 points. But Ryder just too much down the stretch. Another alley-oop here. Ryder is going to win this one 112 to 107. That is a high-scoring game. Defense was an option in this one, I guess.
It was not.
Yes.
There was no defense.
Yeah.
Who scores that many points in a regular season game in the NCAA? That's crazy.
And that was the first time Quinnipiac scored 100 points or more since 2013 at Niagara, and they lost in an overtime game.
That's crazy.
And fellow beat reporter Maury Hirschgordon has a touchscreen segment for us, and he breaks down his top 5 MAC teams. Maury, what do you got for us?
Thanks, guys. My top 5 starts with Monmouth at number 1. I think we can get them out of the way. The Hawks riding a program-best 11-game winning streak right now. They seem to be untouchable. They probably will win the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference tournament when it's all said and done. But now's here where it gets confusing. I like St. Peter's at number 2. While they do sit number 3 in the MAC, 5 of their 6 losses are just by 1 possession or in overtime. I think the defense that the Peacocks play night in and night out will get them up to that 2 spot and eventually make it to that championship game. I see them as a potential sleeper in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference tournament. At number 3, I like the Siena Saints. 1, because they're home, and 2, because they have a couple games left against Monmouth. So I think Siena is going to be able to move up the standings a little bit from 4 to 3, knock off the Monmouth team. I think come Monday night, I think they will do it on ESPN2. Brett Bisping Javion Oganyemi, Levon Long, as well as Nico Clarath, who just returned and put in a double-double Saturday night in a win against Marist. I think the Saints come in at number 3. At number 4, I like the Iona College Gales just because of tiebreaker situations. Iona, I think, in my estimation, is a top, 2 or 3 team when it might be all said and done. But I think they come in at number 4 just because Jordan Washington, he's got a little bit of an attitude problem. He's only playing 20 minutes a game, and the Gales sometimes, can play up to their competition, but as always, they can play down to their competition. And then in a tight one, I have Canisius at number 5. Canisius, their sweep in the regular season against the Siena Saints will pay off when teams like Fairfield, teams like Quinnipiac, teams like Ryder are trying to get to that 5th spot. The sweep against Siena will give Canisius the edge and put them in at number 5. But we will all see there's still plenty of games, plenty of time left for some of these teams to drop out, some new teams to come in. So you'll just have to keep your eye on the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference standings. Back to you.
The Sturgeon women's basketball team has the MAC's best offense and defense statistically. They hosted the Marist Red Foxes last Thursday on a day that brought a lot of snow to Hamden, Connecticut. Let's see how the Bobcats fared on this packed-in day. As I just said, the Quinnipiac women's basketball team hosted the Marist Red Foxes at TD Bank Sports Center. Let's take it into the first half. Jen Fay, great hesitation, right into the corner for Adelaide Martucci, and she does the rest. Great 3 for her, 14 points on the day for her. Let's take another look at this great move to find the space for Adelaide Martucci by Jen Fay, and the easy 3 for her. She's not going to miss those. Still in the first half, Paula Stratman drives to the hoop for the easy, at least she makes it look easy, layup in the second half. Morgan Mans with the cross-court pass to Carly Fabry for the easy 3. She nails that. Still in the second half, another 3 now. Strautmane is going to find Thornton. Great ball movement by the Bobcats there. They had 26 assists on the day. Erin McClure is going to drive here, and great pass for Jen Fay for the easy layup. She also had 14 points. And in the second half, still, Morgan Mans is going to clean up the mess for a great layup, and that's going to be it as Quinnipiac wins 79-57.
And then on Sunday, Quinnipiac traveled up to Albany to face Siena. Another MAC game. Erin McClure, huge in this game for the Bobcats. We're going to take it to the first half. First, Erin McClure is going to find, this is a nice move right here. She's going to find Erin McClure for a 3. You know she's going to hit it. Why else would we put it in the highlight? Here we go. Quinnipiac going up 7-5. Erin McClure here going to find. Nice move underneath. Tough 2 with the layup. Nice finish there. We're going to move to the second half now. Erin McClure working on the offensive boards, gets another layup right there.
It's a big board.
Big board. And Erin McClure here on the fast break. We're going to see her stop and pop in the paint right there. That's another 2-pointer. She was just unstoppable this game. And you're going to see her working inside here. Again, another 2. That's N1. 3 points the old-fashioned way. Quinnipiac winning this one 76-60. Now we're going to toss it all the way up to the TD Bank Sports Center as the twins, I like to call them. Josh Silverman and Brian Schwartz are standing by live to talk some women's basketball. Guys, what do you got for us?
Thanks, guys. All right, Josh. Are the Bobcats back on track? They've won 3 in a row.
Brian, that's a good question. Are they back on track? I'll tell you this. In the last 3 games, they've held all their opponents under 60 points. They've managed to stay under 20 fouls as a team in each game, and they've shot 42% from behind the arc and 43% from the field. That's up from 29% from behind the arc and 38% from the field. So are they back? I'm going to need to see more, especially when Iona comes to town. This Friday, Iona's beaten them already once this season. But they're definitely playing better, and they're playing well enough to win. Siena and Monmouth, are they good teams in the MAC? Yeah, they're teams in the MAC. Every team in the MAC is a good team, but Iona's going to be the real test on Friday.
You know what? I have to agree with you there. Quinnipiac's got Erin McClure back playing her best basketball.
21 points the other night.
21 points the other night, 18.5 average in her last 2 games. MAC Player of the Week this week. She's back on track. So that brings me to this question: Erin McClure and Paula Strautmane, or Marina Lizarazu and Alexis Lewis from Iona? Who are you taking?
All 4 are great players. All 4 could be up for MAC Player of the Year. But I'm going to go with Marina Lizarazu and Alexis Lewis, and here's why. Combined, they have 754 points compared to Quinnipiac's 428 for the 2 players respectively. And the fouls, Brian, the fouls. We've seen Paula Stratman get in foul trouble almost every game. Alexis Lewis and Marina Lizarazu only have 119 fouls to Paula Charbonnet and Aaron McClure is 154. That's going to be the big difference between the duo.
You know, that is a big difference. The fouls are going to be a tough test. The fouls in the first game were a tough test. Billy Godsey's team and Trisha Fabry's team, 53 combined fouls. Does Billy Godsey have the upper hand on Trisha Fabry?
Does she have the upper hand? Here's what I'll say. In the Quinnipiac's last 33 conference games, Iona has beaten Quinnipiac twice. All other opponents have beaten Quinnipiac twice. Does she have her number? I think this is going to be a matchup between these two coaches, two great coaches that will last for a while. But for now, I'm going to say that Billy Godsey might have Trisha Fabry's number.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, in my opinion, they won the MAC championship, so that obviously gives her the upper hand. But you know what? If Quinnipiac comes out and wins this game on Friday, I think that all goes down the drain. I think Trisha Fabry is the more experienced coach. She's been around longer. She's had more success over the long
Back-to-back
haul.
MAC coaches of
Right,
the year.
Right, and I think Trisha Fabry's got that in her back pocket. So, Friday night, here on Lender Court, 5 p.m., Iona Gales, Quinnipiac Bobcats. We got a MAC championship rematch. Who are you taking?
You know what? The reason that Paul Charbonnet and Aaron McClure don't have as many points because the whole team can score. The whole team will score Friday night. I have Quinnipiac winning 74-71 over Iona.
You know what? I agree with you there. I think I have Quinnipiac winning too. I'll go 60-58 Quinnipiac in overtime. Quinnipiac Bobcats win. We'll see what happens on Friday night. You can follow us on Twitter at BrianSchwartz15 and at Josh M. Silverman on Twitter for our live updates from Friday night's game. Now, back to you guys at the desk.
All right, thanks, guys. Awesome stuff as always. And Drew, two completely different weekends for both these basketball teams. You have the women's pretty much taking care of business when they need to, and you have the men's team really struggling on offense. You know?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Mikey Dixon and Pete Kiss were held to 6 and 9 points against St. Peter's, who has an absolutely dominant defense.
Oh,
I mean,
best in the
going
MAC.
forward, yeah, definitely. Yeah, they are statistically best in the MAC. I mean, it's just night and day looking at the women's team and the men's team, dominant on the women's side on most occasions, and the men's team, they are having a better year than last year. But I mean, they're having a better year than last year. But like, I mean, they are still losing.
And then you have the women's team coming in struggling shooting, and they shot 41% from three.
Yes.
But we are going to take a quick break. But coming up, we are going to recap the acrobatics and tumbling team first match at Baylor. And always, we end our show today with the one and only top 5 plays. Stay with us.
Hello, Quinnipiac hockey fans, and welcome to the Neutral Zone.
Definitely St. Lawrence, and I think you're going to see the test coming up real soon.
They might be having a bit of an adjustment issue without that CBS line, but don't count them out.
At High Point Solutions Arena in Game 2 of Quinnipiac vs. Northeastern Series.
It's 9:30 Eastern, and you know what that means. Sports Paws is on the air.
Ball played up the middle. Iman Whalen with a little cheat off the play. Preseason just boils down to going after another national championship and not necessarily focusing on the one before.
MJ, it is time for our favorite part of the show. It's the top 5 plays of the week, brought to you by B&D Deli, home of the Q-Dog.
Let's talk about the first play you want to break down.
Yeah, let's break it down right away.
But the one name I'm going to throw out there is a freshman, Mika Maples.
All this and more.
Coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Welcome back to Sports Paws. The acrobatics and tumbling team, who is nationally ranked at 3, took the flight to Waco, Texas to face the #1 team, the Baylor Bears. In a thrilling season opener, the Bobcats fell to the Bears by a score of 281.110 to 272.770. Quinnipiac took 2 out of the 5 events, the acro and toss event, behind strong showings by senior captains Allie Tallman and Kelsey Rule. Baylor had a strong performance, defeating Quinnipiac in the compulsory event, the 3 heat, and the pyramid event. Quinnipiac returns to action for its first home event of the 27th season when it hosts #2 Oregon on February 19th at noon at the TD Bank Sports Center. Oh, God. I cannot do that.
Just watching those highlights, that was extremely impressive.
I mean, to be fair, I might be able to do a cartwheel, but none of the flips and stuff, that's just not for me.
I struggle to do a somersault.
Yeah, no, not for me.
We're going to move on here. The women's indoor track team traveled up to Boston for the Valentine invite. There were several personal bests set during the invitational. Christina Barbaro, Melissa Solomon, and Marla Werner were all set personal bests in the 400 meter. Mika Maples set a personal best in the shot put along with Mackenzie Merkel. Also, Caitlin Hebert set her personal best in the 1 mile run. Overall, it was a very strong showing for a team that was picked to finish second in the MAC in the preseason. Drew, another sport I'm not going to succeed at because I am in terrible shape.
That's why they're out there and we're in here.
Oh, perfect.
Not for us.
Yes.
The Quinnipiac women's tennis team was defeated 5-2 by Seton Hall University on Saturday evening in North Haven. Cecilio Rencelli and Layla Rodriguez took on Melody Tall and Michelle Motson, defeating the Pirates duo 6-4. However, Seton Hall's doubles pair of Thandi Kongwa and Katie Kim defeated Quinnipiac's senior pair of Sydney Young and Rachel Horton 6-2. With the loss, the Bobcats fall to 3-3 on the season. The Pirates improve to 3-1. And now we take it to Shannon McCarran and Dylan Fearon as they hand out a few roses bachelor style for the for these sports this year.
Thanks, guys. Shannon McCarrison here alongside Dylan Fearon. Dylan, we're going to do a little bachelor-style sports segment. Since Valentine's Day is tomorrow, the roses seem appropriate.
Let's do it.
Bachelor is on tonight, too. All right, so let's get right into it. Men's ice hockey. Making Lake Placid?
I don't think so. They got to be top 4 team in the ECAC to do so, and they've got multiple teams ahead of them in the standings. We thought they fixed their issues after they swept Brown and Yale 2 weekends ago, but this past weekend, lose to Clarkson 4-2 at home. Goaltending's been an issue. Depth has been an issue. Who's going to be the guy to score goals and put the pucks in the net? Andrew Taverner's no longer with the team, so there's still a lot of surrounding issues with this team. I do not see them being a top 4 team in the ECAC and making Lake Placid this season. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, there's a lot for that team to work out, so they are not going to get a rose tonight. Sorry, men's ice hockey team. Moving along to basketball, women's basketball. MAC title?
Absolutely. They've been in the conference championship game in the last 4 years. They expect to be there. They expect to win it. I think if they do not win it, it's a losing season for them. I expect them to win the MAC championship in Albany and take home the title and go to the NCAA tournament for the second time in 3 years. They get a rose from me.
All right, congratulations. We'll be looking out for that. I mean, I wish your rose meant more.
Yeah,
it's all good. We'll have to see if they actually, win on the court. But men's basketball, sticking with basketball, first round win?
I say so. I mean, it's not a huge accomplishment to win in the first round of the MAC tournament, but when you've lost 6 players, you've got 6 new guys, 2 of them in the backcourt are starting freshmen. Donovan Smith's been out with an injury. They can go to Albany, win in the first round, and at least play a competitive game in the quarterfinals. They get a rose from me for sure.
All
so
right.
That's 2 for basketball.
So that's 2 for basketball. Hockey's going to step up. All right, women's ice hockey, NCAA berth.
No, I don't think so. They're 5th in the ECAC. They're 11th in the pairwise. They need to be top 8 to be in the NCAA tournament. They've been there the last 2 seasons, but this season just, it hasn't been there. Defense has been an issue. Putting the puck in the net has been the main issue for them. But, you're 5th in the ECAC. You're 11th in the pairwise. You're not going to make the tournament. It's just not going to happen. So that's 2 for basketball, 0 for hockey. I think if you said that at the beginning of this winter season, everyone would call me crazy, but that's just the way the cookie has crumbled so far.
It is definitely for sure, Dylan. Thank you so much. Now,
absolutely. We got one more rose, which means it's going to have to go to you, Shannon, if you accept my rose.
I do accept the rose, Dylan.
Great.
Thank you. Back to you guys.
Drew, it is time for the top 5 plays of the night. And
Yes,
the top
it is.
5 plays tonight, presented by B&D Deli Works, open for breakfast and lunch. Come on in and try the Quinnipiac Panini or the Q-Dog sub. Drew, I'll start off with 5. You'll take 4 and 2. I'll take 3 and 0. Number 5 here, women's ice hockey, overtime save. That is a big save by Sydney Rossman.
At number 4, women's basketball, Adelaide Martucci is going to get the ball in the corner for an easy 3 swish for her. The assist by Adele Thorne. Another look at this one. Great play by Quinnipiac women's basketball for the easy 3 by Adelaide Martucci.
Coming in at number 3, we're going to go back to the ice here, and we're going to see the lone goal here by Clarkson. This is going to be the proof to be the game winner here. Clarkson's going to take this one 1-0.
At number 2, we go back to women's basketball. Erin McClure drives to the lane for the and one. Great take by her. She had a huge game, 21 points on the game.
And at number 1, we go down to New Jersey. There is a lob right there. It is Dunk City in Lawrenceville, and the tough end one here for Ryder. They are going to win this one by a score, like I said, 112 to 107. No defense played in that game, apparently.
Well, that's going to do it for us here for this edition of Sports Paws. Make sure to check out all of our content online at www.q30television.com. And don't forget to follow us on social media at Q30 Sports and at sports_paws.
For all of us here in the Carl Hansen Student Center and for my colleague Drew Feinberg, my name is Chris Stacy. Check back next week for another edition of Sports Paws. Have a great night, Bobcats.